and in today's video we are going to talk about pets. A pet is defined as a companion animal that is primarily kept for a person's company, protection and entertainment. Yes, we do keep pets especially for these three reasons. Two of the most popular pets as we know are cats and dogs. A cat is an extremely entertaining animal, and a dog, besides giving the best company, leaves no stone unturned to protect and entertain its owner. We as pet lovers give our best to keep our pets happy. We love our pets very much. Some of us love our pets so much that we even treat them as our own kids, as our own family members. But there are some people who love their pets yet miserably fail to take care of them, as a result of which the pets have to suffer a lot. Well, keeping a pet or giving a home to an animal is not enough. There are certain things, certain responsibilities that a pet owner needs to know. Today we have a set of queries from people who want to own or have already owned pets. And to answer the queries, we have with us a vet from Sikkim, Dr. Bhaila Gangtok, and a guest vet from Australia, Dr. Alan. Well, before getting started, I would like to share with you all that a couple of days back, we had asked our viewers to send in pictures of their pets. And as expected, we have received a number of pictures of adorable pets. Do stay tuned in to watch them. And for now, let's begin with today's queries and the answers.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bhaila Gangtok, Program Coordinator with Sikkim Anti-Rabies and Animal Health Program under the Department of Animal Husbandry, Government of Sikkim. We are in fact working to control the rabies menace in Sikkim, as well as we're working for the upliftment of the welfare of the animals, in the entire state of Sikkim. It's really a pleasure rather than pain if once you keep a pet animals. Like in Western world, every third family keeps a pet for a number of reasons. One reason is a pet therapy and a companion. You know, the pet, when you have a pet, it not only brings happiness, it equally de-stresses you. And not only that, the studies have been done by some people. It says that the people who keep pets, they are less vulnerable to like common flu, and because the immune system gets bombarded with allergen. That's why it's always good to have pets. Having said that, if your pet, especially dogs, they are not trained and socialized properly, they are in fact a pain. It's always good to have pets, but make sure your puppies are well trained, socialized, and they know few simple commands like sit, drop, fetch. If they know this command very well, they become very confident, and it not only brings happiness to you, it equally prevent them from many behavioral issues such as aggression, like that. Do not keep pets if you do not, if you're not ready at all. If not ready enough. So I would rather advise you be prepared, be committed, be dedicated. It comes with a lot of commitment. It's not a simple thing to keep a pet. They survive for at least 10 to 12 to 15 long years. You have to be committed. You have to make sure, once it falls sick, I'll take my pets to a vet. You need to make this thing very sure. Once you adopt a puppy, make sure you take very good care of your puppy. It's a family member, a new member of your family. One particular thing which the pet owners needs to understand is that like human being, like human child, they also get a lot of miserable and lethal, fatal diseases. They need to protect it, you know. So vaccination is very important. Like in dogs and cats, they both need vaccination. A proper schedule needs to be followed. You need to speak to your vet. For example, rabies is very necessary for both the cats and dogs. Likewise, distemper parvo, it comes in a complete pack. Likewise, in cat, you need to give them three what you call FE3 or fellow bag vaccination, like for prevention of feline infectious parotitiditis. Having said that, there are other things which needs to be taken care of, especially flea control. You know, because they got this hair and fur, because the flea and the ticks makes home there, so you need to routinely give anti-flea treatment. Likewise, there are other things like I've already told you. Training is very important. Socializing is important. The dog should be, you know, they should exposed to a variety of things like pets, roads, cars, human beings. They feel very confident. If they are not socialized properly, they always get a lot of behavioral issues. You know, they don't become very confident. And simple training, as I've said, simple training like a few commands, sit, drop, they become very confident, and I think which is a good way to go. You know, your puppy needs to be trained very scientifically. It's not a very difficult training, but simple commands, go fetch, and this is the way to go. You know, there are other things like water. Clean water should always be provided to your pets, because the most of the water are contaminated with Escherichia coli, Giardia, Amoebiasis. So make sure your puppy drinks clean water. You should keep the water preferably in a steel bowl, and it should be cleaned daily. Diet is very important. You should not experiment with the puppies with a lot of food. You know, it's always good to give them home cooked food with commercially available food which is available in the market, but make sure you read the instructions very carefully which is written in the label of that commercial food, and make sure do not switch over to new food directly. It should be done very gradually, like over a week period of time. You need to introduce that new food to the old food gradually. It takes sometime 1 week or 2 weeks. If your puppy develops sudden sickness like vomition, diarrhea, you need to visit your vet. Well, overfeeding is a real problem. For example, in a deep-chested dogs like GSD, German Shepherd, they have deep-chested. They are just deep-chested animal. If you overfeed them, like for example, if you feed them commercially available food like pedigree and all over, like before they go to bed, if they don't consume water, they will certainly get a fatal disease called condition called GDV, which is gastric dilatation volvulus, which is fatal. You know, they die within half an hour. So make sure the dogs or puppies are fed properly at a proper interval. I have already told you, do not experiment a lot of variety of food with them. Stick to few food which are palatable. Make sure the puppies they need a lot of calcium. They are growing animals. They need a lot of calcium, and calcium phosphate ratio should be maintained. There's a thumb rule like up till like 3-4 months you need to feed them at least thrice or 4 times a day. Once they achieve full growth, like small to medium, takes 12 months to grow fully. So yeah, after that once or twice a day is okay, and the larger breed takes at least 15 months. So after that you have to 1 to 2 feeding once a day is quite enough. Make sure they are provided with clean drinking water, and you can also add. There are few things which needs to be avoided in dogs and food in dogs and puppies. For example, chocolate should never be given to them, especially the Cadbury chocolate. They get this severe chocolate toxicity, which are often fatal. Other are like cooked bones. Cooked bones are never to be given. Raw bones are okay, but they need to give dog chews, which are available in the market, which is preferable. But do not give cooked bones. It's really very dangerous. And other things like onion, you should not give onion. Having said that, there is no such routine this thing, but you need to always follow the instruction which is given in the label of that commercially available food. Yes, it does affect. The pets. They are, especially the pedigree dogs are very climate sensitive. Especially there is a fashion or a trend in Sikkim to keep highly sophisticated dogs like pedigree dogs, like Saint Bernard pugs. They are cosmetically made, which I'll put it that way, because people wanted a pug to have a squash face, so they are not I think it might hurt someone, might feel offended, but it's a reality. One must discourage all these pedigree dogs, because they are resource churning activity. You should try to avoid keeping highly sophisticated dogs like Saint Bernard pugs. They ranks top in #1 position for getting a lot of diseases like pugs. For example, they get a condition called tracheal collapse, because they have very short trachea, because they have this squash face. Likewise, there are other breeds like Saint Bernard. They also get a lot of disease, especially respiratory related problem. Other thing like in Sikkim, especially Tibetan Mastiff. We don't get pure Tibetan Mastiff, but we get mongrelized Tibetan Mastiff. Even they are very climate sensitive. They are meant for high altitude areas like cold places. They are meant for those kind of climate. If you bring that dog to our area like low-lying areas which is hot and humid, they get severe skin diseases. They don't survive well, and it's a waste of energy, waste of resources like money, fund. They get disease. You have to take them to a vet. You lose money. Why do you do that? Instead, make a wise decision. Why not keep your own stray dogs which are left in the street? They have to fend for themselves. Why not adopt a few of them? They'll get a good home. You are also contributing something to this to the government initiative, as well as you are doing something which one must take up this. It's a noble cause. So overall, dogs, especially animals, they are climate sensitive. Rabies is one of the most fatal and prehistoric disease ever known to humankind. It existed from a long time back. Still, we have not been able to contain this menace. And it's one of the most important zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases are those diseases which gets transmitted from animal population to human beings. It says that there are more than 300 zoonotic diseases. One of them is rabies. But having said all this, it leads to a gruesome death. It's a fatal disease. It's always 100% preventable. There are two aspects in animal rabies and human rabies. Human rabies always human gets rabies from animal bites, and 99% of the human rabies cases comes from dog bite. 99% of the rabies cases comes from dog bite. So for prevention of rabies in case of human being, make sure once you get bitten by a dog, you need to immediately toilet your wound, wash your wound for 15 minutes with antiseptic soap like Lifebuoy Dettol or any Dettol and Savlon, which helps remove that virus load. After that, you need to go and visit your doctor, nearest doctor. They'll go for vaccination, which is called post-exposure prophylaxis. It's always preventable. Like in animal, you need to vaccinate your dog once they reach 2 to 3 months of age. Then it needs to be done annually. Even in Sikkim, there is a law called Sikkim Preservation of Rabies-Free State Bill 2007, which says that it's illegal to own a pet which are not vaccinated against rabies. You know, they need to be vaccinated against rabies before they attain 3 months. So 6 months, within 6 months, you have to vaccinate your dogs. Due to a considerable increase in human rabies deaths and brutal mass shooting of dogs, we like-minded vets and few NGOs, international NGOs like Bruiser Delhi Foundation and Vets Beyond Borders and Department of Animal Husbandry developed this program. You know, because in 2003, 2004 and 5, animals, especially dogs, were brutally shot in the name of rabies. So in 2004-5, there were a lot of rabies cases. At least 1 to 2 human deaths used to be reported. That's why it was high time we developed this program called SERA. That's why SERA was established due to these facts. When you talk of animal welfare laws, there are two kinds of laws. There's a federal law or statutory law, which was in fact framed way back in 1960, called Prevention of Cruelty Against Animals Act 1960. In that act, the section 11 clearly tells that the dogs, if the animals are treated cruelly, there are a number of such cruelties that are being meted out to poor animals. You know, especially if you abandon your pet animals willfully, or if they contract diseases when they are out in the street. It's a punishable offence, which is covered by clause I and J of section 11 of the PC Act Chapter 3. Likewise in Sikkim also, because we do not hear much about rabies cases, you know, people develop certain degree of complacency. You know, no, there is no rabies cases in Sikkim, we don't need to vaccinate a dog. That is why it was very necessary to bring in some law. That's why in 2017, the Department of Animal Husbandry, under the aegis of the SERA program, we framed one law called Sikkim Preservation of Rabies-Free State Act 2017. According to that law, there are a lot of sections and subsections, but for the pet owner, there's one section 3 and 9 of that act, which deals about the responsibilities of pet owners. One act clearly says the animal or the pet owners shall not abandon their animals. It's a punishable offence, which attracts penalty of around 2,000 on first count, and if subsequent count, if they does repeat again and again, then the fine is very hefty, up to 10,000, and an imprisonment up to 1 month. Likewise, now in Sikkim, the pet owners shall preserve control over their dogs. They are not allowed to roam freely in the street. They should always be on the leash. You know, 1. 2 is the pet owner shall remove any elimination waste, for example stool from any public area, from public area, they are not supposed to mess around like in early days. No, it is a punishable offence. Penalty like a fine is up to 500 to 1,000, and second is again 2,000, imprisonment of 1 month. So the law has become very stringent now. It's not a draconian law. It's for the safety and the benefit of the whole region of this beautiful state. We call it Sikkim is regarded as a little piece of heaven. One must be responsible. If you keep a pet, be responsible. If you own a pet, be responsible. So try to follow certain rules and regulations, and according to the law, the pet should be now registered with the authority. Registration, earlier days we used to provide this metal token. Now it has become obsolete now. Now the pet owner should go to a hospital or any private practices, and they have to put a registration gadget called microchip. Every dog should now be microchip, and the register will be maintained. Database will be created for the entire state of Sikkim. If anyone is found violating this rule, it attracts penalties and all. Why such law is created? Because we human can defend on our own. If somebody does some dodgy thing, some mischief, or if someone tries to do something bad against us, we can easily go and lodge an FIR with the police. But poor animals, they can't defend for themselves, they can't speak on their own, because we have there should be some system put in position, some mechanism, so that such things should not happen in this place. Why such thing is very necessary. One should remember the peace and tranquility of a state, of a place, doesn't come like that. People need to have a compassionate feelings, should develop sense of empathy. They should always take good care of environment. They should always take good care of poor animals. They have to fend for themselves. They sit in the lower strata. So there is a beautiful law called Prevention of Cruelty Act 1960, as well as Indian Penal Code. If someone kills an animal, the IPC Indian Penal Code 429 will be applicable, and there are other laws, as I've told you. Prevention of Cruelty Act Chapter 3 also tells you if anyone willfully injures animals, it attracts penalties.
Hello folks, my name is Dr. Allen and I'm a vet from Australia. I come to Sikkim once a year to work with Sikkim Anti-Rabies Animal Health, and I've been coming for 10 years now. So most of our work is done with street dogs, but of course now that we have got many of the street dogs desexed, we are working more with pet dogs, and our biggest project with pet dogs is desexing, and there are many reasons it's important to desex animals. Of course, we don't want to know the population of pets. It's no good people having a pet and loving it and it produces 12 or 20 puppies which they have no use for, may want to drown in the river or give away to somebody else. So desexing fixes all that problem. They don't have to worry about the dog producing more puppies. Desexing the male dogs is also very important because that calms them, gets rid of the male hormone, calms the dog down, and they're much less fighting in the street with other dogs and so forth. So we have a fair bit to do with pet dogs, and it's important that they're looked after properly. I think one issue here that's a problem is dogs being run over by cars. Of course, many of the street dogs are run over, but we also find pet dogs run over as well. So in Australia, pet dogs are not allowed to roam on the street at all. We do not see any pet dogs there at all. In fact, if a pet lover is driving along in their car and they see a dog on the street, they will almost always stop and pick that dog up because they know it shouldn't be there. And they will, if it has a collar with a name and address, they will take it back to the owner. If it doesn't have a name on it, it almost certainly will have a microchip in it, and if they go to their local vet, he can run a scanner over the dog, find the microchip number and locate the owner's address, phone numbers and all that sort of thing. So that's ideally how things could be done in India, but of course it's a very different situation here. So certainly people who have pets, they need to exercise their dogs, take them out for walks, keep them on the leads, on the leash. Maybe you can go to a park somewhere where you can have off-lead exercise, so that we don't want dogs being run over. We spend a lot of time here in Gangtok patching up run-over dogs, amputating legs, all those things that all can be prevented. We shouldn't have to. Something else I should say to you pet-owning people is that, in my opinion, the local dogs, the street dogs, make by far the best pets. Everybody wants to follow the Western world and have these fancy dogs, pugs, beagles and short-legged dogs like Dachshunds. All of those dogs will have far more problems than your local street dogs. These dogs have evolved on the streets for hundreds of years, survival of the fittest, and I can assure you, you will have much less trouble with a local dog than with a purebred that's going to cost you an awful lot of money to buy in the first place. The local dogs make just as nice pets. In fact, in all my time in India, the only dogs I can think of that bit me have been pet dogs. Yes, pet dogs, not local dogs. All the street dogs are friendly, pet dogs tend to be more aggressive. So really think carefully before you go and spend a lot of money to buy some sort of distorted European breed of dog.
That is Dr. Thinley and Dr. Allen answering your queries on pets. I hope today's video was informative enough. Before signing off, I would like to thank all of you for sending in the pictures of your adorable pets. Keep following the queries, and those of you who have not yet subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, leave your comments and like us on Facebook. With that, we come to the end of today's video. This is Rajshri saying bye-bye.